With an unprecedented pandemic slowly starting to get better, what are local schools doing to get their staff vaccinated? And how has Aggieville changed over the past year with construction affecting the streets of the old bar district? That and more later in the show.
With the high in the upper 40s, we're looking finally at some nice weather this week, and I'll have more for you later in the show on Channel 8 News.
This is KKSU LD, broadcasting in high definition from Kansas State University, covering Manhattan, Riley County, and the Flint Hills. You're watching Channel 8 News.
Good morning, and welcome back to Channel 8 News. I'm Dawson Wagner. Today marks our first show of the semester during an unprecedented pandemic that has affected all parts of life, including our own studio here at Channel 8. The only way we have been able to pull off such a feat with maintaining COVID guidelines is by spreading our crew throughout Dole Hall, by using our editing room, control room, and main studio to run our show. For today's show, we will be sharing how the unprecedented rolling blackouts have impacted the Manhattan community, and later, what kind of construction has been changing the face of Aggieville. But first, an update on how the coronavirus vaccine distribution is gaining traction in Manhattan. The COVID-19 pandemic
of the select people within Riley County to finally have his turn.
Well, we've been waiting almost a year, and we haven't been anywhere or done anything, so it's going to be kind of nice.
Townsend, along with other members of Riley County that are 65 and older, are part of Phase 2 of Kansas's vaccine rollout plan. Riley County is attempting to vaccinate some 3,000 people per week during Phase 2, but the transition into Phase 3 could still be at least a month away.
It really depends on when Phase 2 ends, and that is dependent on how many doses we get from the state. We do get a shipment every week, but we're never certain on how many we'll be getting.
I'm outside Potterf Hall at Seco Park in Manhattan, one of the main vaccination stations in Riley County, where it is their goal to vaccinate 800 people each day that they're open. While we still may be a ways away from returning to normalcy, these people are doing their part so that one day, these can come off. One group also being vaccinated throughout Phase 2 are teachers, as USD 383 has been offering their teachers and staff the vaccine if they want it.
Right now it is their choice. It's totally up to them. It is not a requirement to get the vaccine to be employed by USD 383.
Andrea Fields, a teacher at Woodrow Wilson Elementary School, says that getting the vaccine is going to bring her peace.
The fact that if I get it, then I can go see my mom and not worry, and I can go see my in-laws, but also the kids. I can hug them.
For Townsend, he hopes that others will get the vaccine like him.
You know, the best scientists in the world's working on this. Not to get it, I think, is just irresponsible.
In Manhattan, I'm Cameron Bradley, Channel 8 News.
For more information on the vaccine, as well as how you can sign up to receive the vaccine, visit rileycountykansas.gov. Over the past 2 weeks, Manhattan and the metro area has been hit with severe winter weather. With temperatures dipping into the double digits below zero, Manhattan residents were tremendously impacted. I went out into the community to find out what those impacts have been and how community members have adjusted to the chaotic climate. Monday and Tuesday of last week, some Manhattan residents lost power. David Broughton was one of them.
Called some friends and some family in other towns and other places to see if they had power, and we made plans because it was only supposed to be 30 minutes. My wife wound up sitting at home with the kids for about 2 hours with no power.
The energy company, Evergy, had to roll blackouts throughout Manhattan. Kaylee Bolin, the communications manager for Evergy, explains why the rolling blackouts were so necessary.
So at the request of the Southwest Power Pool, we implemented those temporary emergency power reductions, and both the conservation efforts made by our customers and those reductions helped avoid larger, longer, uncontrolled outages.
So even with Manhattan residents conserving energy where they could, Evergy had to make decisions on what parts of the community that they were going to have rolling blackouts in.
Evergy used system data to generate a list of areas we should power off to best balance the stress on the power grid at that time. The process spread the outages across our entire service area in Kansas and Missouri. And then once that list was generated, our analysts reviewed the designated areas and removed hospitals and other emergency facilities so they wouldn't lose power.
By investing in their infrastructure and systematically monitoring the power grid, Evergy plans to be able to prevent future rolling blackouts. In Manhattan, I'm Dawson Wagner for Channel 8 News. Construction on the new Aggieville parking garage continues to some detours and delays. The parking garage, which will be south of Rally House, will consist of around 450 parking spaces, almost 400 more than the previous lot that was there, as well as retail area on the ground floor. Even with the detours and more traffic, City Planner Ben Shamil is excited for what the construction means for Aggieville's future.
If you have too much parking, then you kind of ruin the urban design of everything. Right. But if you're going to have it, then let's make it compact and create little spaces for opportunities to expand the district and create a cool streetscape.
Coming up, what is next for the Black Lives Matter movement? Leaders from K-State's Black Student Union and Black Lives Matter Manhattan will discuss sustaining lasting change with our MHK All Day team.
Socially distanced protests in Manhattan's Triangle Park and other locations, all a part of the Black Lives Matter.
I email my professors, I get an answer. They're participating in the discussion boards. You just feel really connected, and that was a unique experience for me. I'm not new to distance programs. I'm a military wife. Been to 6 different colleges in 4 different states. So I've definitely taken some online classes, and K-State does it very differently. And they pull it off beautifully. I don't know how, but I'm just glad.
H1 minus H2 plus V1 squared minus V2 squared all over 2.
K-State fans, are you ready?
I had taken online classes before, but Kansas State was really great because it was so organized, and like all the teachers and professors were so helpful, and they just went beyond to help me to get the degree that I was looking for.
The best kept secret in Manhattan is not a secret anymore. I'm Wyatt Thompson, the voice of the Wildcats, and welcome to JP's Sports Grill. With daily chef-inspired specials, a full bar, and a diverse menu that has something for everyone, this place is guaranteed to impress. JP Sports Grill, your new favorite spot.
Over the past summer, communities across the United States came together in protest as part of the Black Lives Matter movement following the deaths of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and Ahmaud Arbery. Our MHK All Day special reporting team sat down with campus and community leaders to see how movements in the greater Manhattan area are planning to sustain long-term change.
During the summer months, thousands of community members gathered for several socially distanced protests in Manhattan's Triangle Park and other locations, all a part of the Black Lives Matter movement's local chapter, BLM-MHK. K-State's Black Student Union Vice President Melina Alfaroff hopes the summer of unrest served as a wake-up call for people who weren't aware or ignored racism at the national and local level.
I mean, it definitely shifted kind of like a lot of people's opinions and views, and I think it's moving towards like a positive direction that people will be more engaged and more involved.
For some, it paved the way for conversations about racism and gave people the chance to connect with others who have common experiences.
It allowed people to see that they weren't the only ones who were feeling a certain kind of way about what's been going on.
In the months since the protests in Triangle Park, community members hope to see more than just demonstrations. They hope to see lasting changes.
It's not over. There's a lot of work to be done. And it's just a point of where do we start? Where do we go? Bottom line, it starts with your community. We can't just continue to protest. You know, we need action.
So far, that's looked like hosting community-oriented initiatives like registering voters and organizing coat donation drives. But it's also inspired parks to get involved in local governance. She sits on the advisory board for Riley County Police and is an inaugural member of Manhattan's Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee.
What we've been trying to do is to kind of get ourselves in positions to where we're at the table, where the conversations are happening, and that we're able to bring a voice to things that are actually affecting the African American community here.
In the future, BLM MHK hopes to address other problems facing people in the community beyond issues facing Black people.
Seeing how this struggle is not just ours allows us to kind of widen our scope of what we're looking at, not just what's happening to Black people, but what's happening to people here in our community, period. That's not okay.
In Manhattan, I'm Macy Burning for MHK All Day.
To get involved with BLM MHK, you can donate to the cause and visit facebook.com/BLMMHK or email blmmhks@gmail.com. Now, we'll go to our MHK All Day reporter, Bailey Short, for an interview with an intercultural teacher here at K-State.
Today we have Keisha Clark with us, who currently teaches intercultural competence in institutions here at Kansas State, to talk with us about Black Lives Matter movement, what progress has been made, and has technology been an influence. Thank you for being here today with us, Keisha.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Oh yeah, no problem. So looking back at history, do you think progress is being made?
Looking back at history, I would say that we're still in a stage of being performative for most of our there's still a lack of action and a ton of talk about what should be done.
Yeah, definitely. So we've seen a lot this past year. What do you think the future really looks like for the Black Lives Matter movement?
Sorry, could you repeat that?
So we've seen a lot this past year with everything that happened this summer. What do you think the future looks like for the Black Lives Matter movement? Do you think it's going to continue to grow, be a positive impact, everything?
Yeah, I think that the Black Lives Matters movement will continue to grow. I think that it has been really a positive influence, not only when you're talking about factors like Black lives, but also the fact that we're shining a light on police brutality and the disparities in which that is executed on a variety of Black and Brown communities. I think prior to the movement, people were unaware of how disproportionately Black and Brown people were treated as a result of what was happening in society. It's never been a question within the communities, but outside of the communities, people, I think, were grossly unaware.
Yeah, definitely. So technology is huge right now, especially with the pandemic. Many people aren't really going out as much as they would. So a lot of the information they're getting is from social media, everything, sorts of things like that. So how do you think technology has had an influence on the movement? And do you think it's a positive influence?
I think technology is the main source as to why the movement was able to have such widespread influence, right? So people were seeing, first of all, the video of George Floyd was seen around the world, and that just the raw nature of what happened in that video and watching the brutality that occurred by at the hands of someone who is supposed to uphold the law was I think was a bit jarring for much of society. And the fact that people were able to see that, live stream it, and it traveled around the world. Like, there's no way that it would have done that as quickly. Additionally, movements were created all around the world. So we had marches all around the world because of that. And people were able to bond and unite in ways that they haven't been able to. And it was easy to get the word out because of social media.
Up next, we take a look at Manhattan's response to the severe weather from last week and what they could do better. Plus, we look ahead at our current conditions and what our weekend forecast has in store.
Welcome to K-State. We're so excited all of you came to visit us here on campus. We're going to be starting our tour here in front of Anderson Hall, which is our administrative building and kind of our iconic building on campus. It houses our president's office and our vice president for student life. All right, let's get started. We're going to be going to the Union next. It houses our full.
And you can actually see the thing.
More.
Your identity is who you are.
Feels pretty good. Hurts a little bit when I'm putting pressure on it, but not too bad.
What's your pain level at?
Probably like a 3.
Okay, cool. So much better than yesterday.
Yeah, a lot better.
All right. Well, I'm gonna start to slow it down now.
Okay.
The best-kept secret in Manhattan is not a secret anymore. I'm Wyatt Thompson, the voice of the Wildcats, and welcome to JP's Sports Grill. With daily chef-inspired specials, a full bar, and a diverse menu that has something for everyone, this place is guaranteed to impress. JP Sports Grill, your new favorite spot.
Last week's severe weather affected just about everyone. Weather reporter Madeline Emerson joins us with the latest updates about Manhattan's response to the weather and the upcoming weather this week. Madeline?
Thanks, Dawson. As temperatures plummeted in the last couple of weeks, the city of Manhattan was slow to respond for those without stable homes. A local group stepped up to help out during the frigid weather. I had the opportunity to talk to the nonprofit organization. With the temperature getting colder, Scott Voos, the head of Be Able, a community help center, started getting phone calls from a concerned board member.
We saw that the weather was really starting to turn to some emergency and dire type of situations. So we knew that we had to do something.
The organization first got a $2,000 donation from First Lutheran Church.
We just came up with like on-the-fly plan to find a motel. Use the $2,000 our church was donating as basically the down payment and take it from there to figure out how to get people out of the cold into those rooms.
After more community donations, the group ended up housing more than a dozen people here at the Super 8 Motel in Manhattan for a week of bad weather. The city usually works with the Red Cross in times like these, but with the pandemic, that option wasn't available, and the city was slow to respond, setting up a heating center toward the end of the cold weather.
Unfortunately, with COVID restrictions, the Red Cross is no longer doing in-person service. So they offer some virtual support. They're still doing blood drives, but they were unavailable to help with shelter needs.
For Voos, he hopes this is a wake-up for the city, and next time they will be ready.
We've shined a bright light on the preparation that is needed for the year ahead, and I think we've got the right people in place and the right the decision makers for the city involved now. I think that we'll have a great plan for the next year.
Organizers hope the city and community services can partner for the next time the need arises. And now on to our weather. We're looking at some nice weather this week and finally moving out of that cold snap. We have some nice weather up in the eastern side of the United States with some mid-40s up in the New York section here, and then moving lower into the 70s and 50s here in the south. And then over here we do have some cold weather still up in the north, but in Kansas we have a high of 47 today, and that's pretty standard across the state of Kansas. And down here in southeast Kansas near Pittsburgh we have mid-40 temperatures, and over here in the western side of Kansas we have mid-50s for our temperature. Still looking at some nice weather for a nice time this weekend going outside. And for today in particular, we have a high of 47 with partly sunny and cloudy weather with southwest winds moving in at about 4 miles per hour. And moving on to this weekend's weather, Saturday it looks like a really nice day, but there could be a chance of rain later in the evening. Make sure you get outside and have a great time at the park or anything like that. And that's all the time we have for weather today. Back to you, Dawson.
Thanks, Madeline. Coming up, how a K-State senior led his team to a huge victory during his last game in Manhattan, and how student athletes will soon be compensated for their likeliness. All that and more on Channel 8.
Welcome to K-State. We're so excited all of you came to visit us here on campus. We're going to be starting our tour here in front of Anderson Hall, which is our administrative building and kind of our iconic building on campus. It houses our president's office and our vice president for student life. All right, let's get started. We're going to be going to the Union next. It houses our pool.
And you can actually see the thing.
Come on, one more. Your identity is who you are.
Feels pretty good. Hurts a little bit when I'm putting pressure on it, but not too bad.
What's your pain level at?
Probably like a 3.
Okay, cool. So much better than yesterday.
Yeah, a lot better.
All right. Well, I'm going to start to slow it down now.
Okay.
The best kept secret in Manhattan is not a secret anymore. I'm Wyatt Thompson, the voice of the Wildcats, and welcome to JP Sports Grill. With daily chef-inspired specials, a full bar, and a diverse menu that has something for everyone, this place is guaranteed to impress. JP Sports Grill, your new favorite spot.
This week in sports, we will take a look at how 19 points made for a great night for the only senior on the men's basketball team. For that and more, we now go to sports anchor Jacob Hall. Jacob?
Thanks, Dawson. Tuesday was a big night for the K-State basketball program as they upset the number 7 ranked Oklahoma Sooners in Bramlage Coliseum. Before the game, Mike McGurl was honored as the only senior on the roster. McGurl led the team with 19 points, including going 5 for 9 from 3. His big buckets late propelled the young Wildcat team to victory and gave McGurl an unforgettable send-off.
I'm so happy. I'm so happy for me and my teammates, my coaches. It's a blessing to be able to have this happen. But you wish it was the whole season. But man, this was special, and this was a great game.
Recent legislation is underway which would allow amateur athletes to make money off of their name, image, and likeness. A bill in Kansas is working its way through legislation which would mean athletes at K-State could become their own brand. Taylor Bratt is the head of football recruiting at K-State and has seen a big change in how athletes market themselves in the last decade.
I mean, it's forever changing because of social media, because of young kids, marketing to them, being able to relate to them, being able to understand what they're going through every day.
Although the NCAA has yet to make a change, states are now creating laws to allow athletes to cash in on themselves. The problem? With states each creating their own policy, rules vary from state to state.
What we don't want to have, and we're heading this path, is 50 states with 50 different laws.
K-State Athletic Director Gene Taylor recently testified in support of the Kansas bill allowing student athletes to market themselves. His big concern, not falling behind other states in recruiting.
We wanted to be in a position in Kansas that if the federal government didn't pass anything, we weren't at a recruiting disadvantage if other states around us had this opportunity for their student athletes.
With new regulations, keeping the team in team sports will be an important challenge for coaching staffs, particularly because some athletes are more profitable than others.
It's still a team sport, so you still got to try to keep them focused on that when they know that they can get money out of it.
Within the bill, There is text that provides all athletes the chance to earn compensation, but there are some issues that could lie ahead.
The other challenge is, men's sports versus women's sports. Certainly going to be a challenge, and something we're going to have to work with is making sure that it's fair across genders as well.
For Bratt, he sees this as another extension of what most athletes are already doing.
I tell guys, future employers are always watching. NFL scouts watch your Twitter. You just never know. It never stops.
And that's all we have for sports today. Back to you, Dawson.
Coming up, will it be spring or winter this weekend? Madeline will tell us more with our final weather segment.
So you can actually see the thing.
Come on, one more.
Oh, it's been like the best adventure of my life. Best, hands down. Don't tell my children I said that, but absolutely the best thing ever. I've had so much fun. I've learned so much, and I think the thing that I love most about this program, the expectations are just like that of a regular full-time program. There's discussions, there's discussion board posts, there's interaction with the instructors, just like you would have if you were on campus. I love it.
The best kept secret in Manhattan is not a secret anymore. I'm Wyatt Thompson, the voice of the Wildcats, and welcome to JP's Sports Grill. With daily chef-inspired specials, a full bar, and a diverse menu that has something for everyone, this place is guaranteed to impress. JP Sports Grill, your new favorite spot.
All right. Now we'll go to Madeline for our final weekend weather update. Madeline?
So today, for this week's weather, we're looking at some pretty nice weather today, and this weekend we are looking at some nice weather too. Be sure to get outside, go out to the Kanza, and there is a baseball game later this weekend, so be sure to hit that. And we are going back to Dawson. Dawson?
Thanks, Madeline. Well, this wraps up our first show for the spring 2021 semester. We appreciate you tuning in, and we hope to see you again next week. Stay safe, stay warm, and stay healthy.
This is Channel 8 News.